Caitlin Clark hit the three of a lifetime
over Breanna Stewart. It produced this image, right? Like Clark, like, woo!
She was just kind of like laughing and I was laughing. I'm happy. I'm seeing a lot of great sportsmanship.
Breanna Stewart and Caitlin Clark just saying, hey, clear the ways. I'm about to cash this thing.
It is what it is. You know, it's that Caitlin Clark magic.
Caitlin Clark hit a deep step back, 3 over Breanna Stewart, and laughed.
A viral moment. She had her three threes in 38 seconds, the 9 points in 38 seconds.
Caitlin dribbling between the legs, step back, logo ready. Oh my goodness, just pulls it, nothing but the bottom of the net, and then give her a ooh.
The real shock, Stewart laughed too.
Breanna Stewart was giving her a lot of space. She shoots it from the logo, she drills it, and right afterwards, I think all Breanna Stewart could do is kind of laugh about it.
Then she broke her silence, and what she said changed everything. If you support Caitlin Clark, drop a 100% in the comments right now.
Caitlin is the one.
No comparison to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the most watched basketball player in world basketball right now. There's nobody that does what Caitlin Clark does.
She's the biggest basketball star in the world.
How special and rare Caitlin Clark is.
It wasn't just a shot, it was the shot.
Caitlin Clark hits the big shot. Big shot, not even in the sense of it, just like a deep shot, a big moment, because it produced this image, right? Like Clark, like, woo!
Caitlin Clark, already known for her limitless range, pulled up from the logo in the second quarter against the New York Liberty. Defended by none other than Breanna Stewart, the reigning MVP, Clark calmly stepped back and drilled the 3 right in her face.
From inside the arena, as you can see here in the game. And Caitlin Clark from the logo, a little bit of a wave off, and the step back, cash, which led to that exchange.
No hesitation, no flinch. Just pure confidence. Then came the stare, the smirk, and the meme-worthy shrug.
She was just kind of like laughing and I was laughing.
She did the meme. She did the Van Lith meme.
The crowd lost it. Social media exploded. And in that exact moment, it felt like the league belonged to Caitlin. But what truly made it special was what happened after. Instead of frustration or dismissiveness, Breanna Stewart turned around and laughed.
When Caitlin Clark faced off against the New York Liberty, she literally
Ridiculous. Just out there having.
And yeah, man. Watch this. 1, 2, well, really, she was a 1 step back, nothing but net. Caitlin Clark cooked her real good, gave her a little shove at the end. You can't stop me.
Later, in a post-game interview, Stewart admitted the shot was so good, all she could do was appreciate it. It was a tough shot, she said. I was laughing.
She was just kind of like laughing and I was laughing. Like, it was a great shot. It was a tough shot.
She was laughing. You just go to the other end. It was raw, it was real, and it caught everyone off guard. Even Sandy Brondello, head coach of the Liberty, was seen clapping in the background.
Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty, in the background there, even giving a clap. I mean, it's one of those things that's undeniable.
That tiny gesture said everything. Respect, recognition. The moment wasn't just viral, it was symbolic.
Everybody is talking about this moment. 786,000 views. That is ridiculous.
For once, a WNBA veteran didn't downplay Caitlin's talent or sidestep her presence. She acknowledged it, embraced it, and let the moment breathe. This wasn't just Caitlin Clark hitting a 3. This was Caitlin Clark forcing the league, live on national television, to witness her greatness. And this time, even her toughest competitors had no choice but to join the celebration.
That exchange between Caitlin Clark and Breanna Stewart went viral, and everybody sort of appreciated it and loved it for the beautiful basketball moment.
Just a year ago, Breanna Stewart wasn't exactly handing out compliments to Caitlin Clark. In fact, she was one of the loudest voices downplaying her game, saying Clark wasn't an all-around player, that she was just a shooter.
Do we talk about how Caitlin Clark is not Rookie of the Year because it's not her? She's not an all-around player. Basically all she does is shoot threes. She's not an all-around player.
For months, many WNBA veterans echoed that same narrative, questioning her impact, her toughness, even her place in the league. But this week, everything changed. After that viral logo 3, all eyes turned to Stewart. Would she brush it off? Would she fall back into the usual, she's got a lot to learn routine? Not this time. In the post-game press conference, Stewart didn't just speak. She smiled. She laughed. And more importantly, she gave Clark her flowers. She was deep out there, Stewart said. She made it, and she was kind of laughing. And I was laughing too.
In the moment, it was like shot clock was going down, right? I know she wants to go left to shoot the three. So trying to be as close as I can, but she was deep out there. And when she made it, she was just kind of like laughing and I was laughing. Like, it was a great shot. It was a tough shot. And it's one of those ones where you're like, and you go to the other end. And I'm happy. I'm seeing a lot of great sportsmanship.
It was just a great shot, a tough shot. That response, simple, honest, and even playful, was a major pivot from what we've seen before. What made it so powerful wasn't just what she said, it was who she is. Stewart is not just any player. She's a multiple-time champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most respected voices in the league. So when she speaks, people listen. And when she laughs after getting cooked by Caitlin Clark and calls it a great moment, it signals something bigger, a shift in the tone of the league. This wasn't a backhanded compliment. This wasn't, she's good for a rookie.
She's fourth in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlin Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
This was pure respect, genuine acknowledgement. And for fans who've watched Clark face nothing but scrutiny since day one, this felt like a breakthrough. For so long, it seemed like WNBA vets were either ignoring her or actively working against her rise. But now they're starting to see what the world already knows. Caitlin Clark isn't just a highlight reel, she's changing the game. And this isn't just fan speculation either. Analysts notice the change.
There are millions of people that never cared about the WNBA at all that now care because Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA.
Commentators pointed out how unusual it was to see Stewart so openly praise a player who had just embarrassed her on national TV. Some even compared it to the moment last season when Diana Taurasi embraced Clark after throwing shade earlier in the year.
I'm happy. I'm seeing a lot of great sportsmanship. Love that.
This reminds me a little bit of the Taurasi moment. Like, everybody has always said this, that the game that changed everything for Caitlin's perception was the Mercury game last year. When they went, like, absolutely out of their way. Like, Taurasi, Griner went out of their way to, like, Caitlin's old Stewie, this is my league now.
It's like a cycle is repeating. Attack first, then surrender to the greatness. What Stewart did, whether she meant to or not, was give permission to the rest of the league. Permission to stop fighting the inevitable, to stop resisting the shift that's already here. Because Caitlin Clark is not just a player with hype. She's the real deal. She's already torching defenses, shattering ratings, and now she's earning respect from the league's elite.
We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just ridiculous.
And the timing couldn't be better. With Clark's return coinciding with a massive spike in WNBA viewership and her leading the Fever to upset the undefeated Liberty, Stewart's words weren't just personal, they were strategic. A smart player knows when to pivot. Stewart did just that. No longer is Caitlin Clark the outsider, the controversial newcomer. Thanks to moments like these, thanks to Stewart's public response, she's becoming something far more powerful, a peer among legends.
Caitlin is the future of the WNBA, the face of women's sports.
That single moment, Caitlin Clark hitting a logo 3 over Breanna Stewart, wasn't just a bucket. It was the spark that lit the fuse. What followed wasn't just applause from fans or a viral highlight reel. It was a global response that underlined just how massive her influence has become. The numbers, the reactions, the press coverage, even the tension between players, it all converged in that instant. And suddenly, this wasn't just a WNBA moment. It was a sports moment. Let's start with the ratings. The Liberty versus Fever game pulled 2.2 million viewers.
Clark is part of the league, had made her return. Everybody saw what it was like when she wasn't there. The ratings fell 50-something% for people who were sharing the fake ratings yesterday. The Liberty Fever game actually did 2.2 million viewers, which is right in line with what the Liberty Fever game from earlier in the season did.
making it the third most watched WNBA game ever on ABC. That's not a coincidence. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. What's even more telling is how fast the narrative flipped. Before her return, WNBA viewership dropped nearly 50% in some matchups. But the moment Clark stepped back onto the court, the numbers rebounded. And with them came the excitement, the energy, and the eyeballs. You can argue talent, you can argue experience, but one thing's undeniable. Caitlin Clark brings the audience.
Caitlin Clark is back, and so are the ratings, and so are the moods, and so are the vibes.
And the response didn't stop in the US. 5 fans flew in from Hong Kong just to watch her live. That's not just fan loyalty, that's international stardom. When Breanna Stewart herself was asked about the moment, the topic wasn't just about Clark's range or her scoring. It was about the feeling in the arena, the shock of the shot, the energy it brought. Stewart said it best when she laughed and admitted, "You just go to the other end." That wasn't defeat, that was awe. Even WNBA coach Sandy Brondello, who was supposed to be scheming against Clark, couldn't help but clap in the background. That tiny moment said it all. From coaches to opponents, there was no hate. There was no eye roll. There was respect. And it wasn't just begrudging respect, it was joyful. That's what made it so different. It wasn't that Clark demanded their approval. She earned it, and they gave it to her without being asked. Then there's the style of play. Clark isn't just scoring, she's changing the way the game looks.
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
3 threes in 38 seconds? From the logo? That's Steph Curry territory.
Talking about Steph Curry, and you said he's the greatest shooter God ever created. Caitlin Clark certainly looked like that.
And WNBA fans have noticed. Social media labeled her the Steph Curry of the WNBA.
Steph Curry of the WNBA.
And not as a lazy comparison, but because of her range, speed, decision-making, and swagger. This isn't just a rookie making a splash. This is a player who's redefining what WNBA basketball looks like.
Look at this shot. Oh my goodness. Then you had the Michael Jordan tongue coming out. She did a spin move bucket. Caitlin Clark was going ridiculous out here. Look at it. Of course, the Breanna Stewart moment. The crazy back-to-back-to-back threes. It was ridiculous.
What's wild is that even with all this, Clark could have had more. Multiple analysts pointed out that if her teammates had finished better around the rim, Clark would have had over 14 assists that night. But she wasn't just passing, she was leading, setting the tone, taking over. That's why you see the crowd erupt when she touches the ball. That's why she got a standing ovation on a step-back 3.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
She's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like...
Because when Caitlin Clark plays, it's not just basketball, it's cinema. And let's not ignore the narrative shift. Last year, players like A'ja Wilson and even Stewart herself dismissed Clark's game. Now they're either silent or respectful. Stewart's reaction this week proved that even the veterans who once seemed threatened by Clark's spotlight now see the bigger picture. Fighting Caitlin is fighting the growth of the league. And for a sport desperate for mainstream attention, Clark is the lifeline they didn't know they needed. Even the timing of her return couldn't have been scripted better. The Fever beat the previously undefeated Liberty.
When Caitlin Clark goes with the Valkyries, it's going to be crazy. When she goes to Golden State, that game's going to be crazy. You've seen what it is with the Valkyries.
Clark dropped a historic stat line. She went viral for her shot and her sportsmanship. And the league, for once, didn't resist it. They leaned in. The WNBA even highlighted her moment in post-game promos, social media content, and media packages. Why? Because the league knows Caitlin Clark is the main event. And in a game full of all-stars, MVPs, and legends, it was Clark, the youngest, the newest, the most targeted, who commanded the spotlight. Not because the media told us to watch, not because the league scripted it, but because she forced everyone to notice. That shot over Breanna Stewart wasn't just a flex, it was a turning point. And when Stewart smiled and laughed, She unknowingly gave the league permission to stop pretending. Caitlin Clark isn't coming. She's here. And the WNBA is better because of it.
Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
For weeks, no, months, Caitlin Clark has lived under a microscope. Every missed shot, every turnover, every physical play she took without a whistle was dissected. Pundits said she wasn't ready. Veterans questioned her all-around game. Some even suggested she didn't belong in the WNBA spotlight just yet. Instead of welcoming the biggest draw in women's basketball history, many tried to test her, rattle her, and expose her flaws. And yet, with one electrifying shot, she flipped the entire narrative on its head.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. She's so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
When Caitlin pulled up from the logo, not the arc, not the wing, but deep, ridiculously deep, and let it fly over Breanna Stewart, she didn't just score 3 points. She rewrote the script that had been held against her since draft night. This was the moment her critics fell silent. And they didn't fall silent because someone told them to. They fell silent because there was nothing left to say. Even Breanna Stewart, once one of the most vocal about Clark not being all around, had to smile. She didn't frown. She didn't dismiss it. She laughed in the middle of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the moment, it was like shot clock was going down, right? I know she wants to go left to shoot the three. So trying to be as close as I can, but she was deep out there. And when she made it, she was just kind of laughing and I was laughing. It was a great shot. It was a tough shot. And it's one of those ones where you're and you go to the other end. And I'm happy. I'm seeing a lot of great sportsmanship.
And not in a mocking way. Stewart laughed because even she knew what the rest of us realized at that moment. You can't guard that. You can't coach that. That's greatness. And no matter how much some in the league may want to resist the shift, that shot made it clear. It's happening with or without them. What makes this moment even more powerful is who was watching. Fans from Hong Kong had flown in just to watch Caitlin Clark play live. ESPN plastered the highlight across every platform. NBA players reposted it. Even LeBron James tweeted welcoming her back and praising the CC effect. That's not media hype. That's a player capturing the attention of the entire basketball world and doing it on her own terms. And let's not forget the opposing bench. Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello was caught clapping.
Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty, is clapping.
A coach who just watched her team's defense get torched couldn't help but show a little respect. That's the kind of authenticity that can't be faked. No one told her to applaud. It just happened because Caitlin Clark made something undeniable happen right in front of her. Then came the reactions from other players. Sabrina Ionescu admitted post-game that Clark was left with too many easy ones, calling her range great. Natasha Cloud, who had previously been labeled the Caitlin Clark stopper, only managed 5 points and looked visibly frustrated. In contrast, Clark was calm, composed, and commanding.
The Indiana Fever before Caitlin and the Indiana Fever after Caitlin, she is 1,000% the difference maker.
Her floor presence dictated the game's energy, and when it mattered most, she delivered. Again. What changed in this one moment was subtle but massive. The whispers that she was overrated, gone. The argument that she's just a shooter, destroyed. The claim that she can't compete at this level, obliterated. Because this wasn't just about hitting a shot. It was about who she hit it on, when she hit it, and how the entire league reacted. This was respect not given, but taken. The truth is, Caitlin Clark was never asking to be loved. She never begged for protection. She didn't need the league to roll out the red carpet. What she needed was the ball in her hands and a defender in her face. The rest? She handled that herself, with one step-back, logo-range dagger that echoed far beyond the arena. From that moment on, the conversation shifted. Clark doesn't just belong here. She's defining what here looks like, and the league finally seems ready to admit it.
She is just absolutely undeniable.
Caitlin Clark was just different. Caitlin Clark is the system.
Caitlin Clark is
generational talent we've needed.
She is the system.
She's fourth in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlin Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
Breanna Stewart didn't have to say it, but her reaction said it all. When the reigning MVP laughs after getting hit with a logo 3, you know something special just happened.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
Caitlin Clark isn't just making shots, she's shifting the culture. The respect is no longer delayed. It's happening now in real time on the biggest stages. And if the veterans are starting to see it, the league better catch up fast, because Caitlin isn't waiting for permission. She's already rewriting the story.